You got paid to watch Fox News all day.
Yes.
Would you say that you're liked by the establishment? You don't want to be a part of the squad?
I mean, like, look.
The most prominent Republican that trolled you online. For real?
Yeah.
You're giving me Mom Donnie vibes now. Do you think that's a compliment? Favorite and least favorite Fox News personality?
Ooh.
Why didn't Gen Z participate in the 2016 trend?
And I'm not an influencer. You can't believe you put this in here because everyone's gonna get mad at me.
Just letting you know, this future politician just not want to answer questions.
Look,
wow.
I am begging you.
Stitch and bitch?
Stitch and bitch.
Stitch and bitch.
Like grandmothers would call it stitch and bitch, like when they stitch with their friends. And so it's just kind of like a time-old reference.
And how many of these like arts and crafts like clubs are you in? Because you told me you knit for your campaign. You just said that you had like a women's embroidery club?
So when I moved to Chicago, I do what I call the preschool approach to making friends. And when I meet someone cool, I literally ask, "Do you want to be my friend?" And they pretty much always say yes. I don't think
what are they going to say?
No. Right. And so I just collected all these friends, and I was like, "Hey, I would like to have a time where we're not looking at our phones, where not everything is centered just around like going out and like drinking or spending money." And so I invited a bunch, like 12 different women to come over and learn how to embroider. And I used kits made by Capital Stitch Co., who make our campaign embroidery kits too.
Oh my gosh.
I made everyone like a little embroidered pouch. And since then, like we'd have regular meetings where like we would come over and do paint by numbers or, bake cookies. And it's really fun. It's nice. And the first one was the week after Trump got elected, the weekend.
Which one? Which time?
The second time. The second time. And so it was just kind of nice to be in the presence of other women to, commiserate.
To stitch and bitch.
To stitch and bitch, exactly.
I'm getting it. I hear stuff like that because you're 26.
I
am. That's officially Gen Z, right?
I'm like right on the cusp, yeah.
Right on the cusp, like a moon rising. Is that what
Exactly.
it is? I'm not into astrology, but I always, whenever everybody says I'm right on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z, you give me a lot of hope when I hear stuff like that.
Thanks.
Because, millennials, for good reason, we're a mess. But like, we don't do stuff like this. We do, like, we fell into like the whole going out culture and the whole,
Well, the cool part about our little club is we had people of all ages. Like we had millennials.
Nice.
We had one of my friends who was a millennial brought her mom and her baby to it.
I just feel like a millennial would never think of this. Like I wouldn't think of this. And if I invited all my millennial friends, I think they'd probably do it. Like they'd come over, but they'd be skeptical. They'd be like, "But can we also bring wine?"
And like, look, we can drink wine.
We can drink wine.
But it is just kind of nice to just kind of exist. And I think a lot of people are desperate for in-person connection, especially after COVID. And so like a big part of our campaign is volunteers that get involved because they're like, well, I don't want to be doom scrolling. And a lot of your campaign events are structured around helping the community. So instead of doom scrolling, I can be out cleaning a park or helping organize your mutual aid hub, and they make friends.
Which I honestly think, I'm going off the rails. I haven't even asked a single question that I prepared, but this is more fun. I wanted to talk about that too, because like that, you have such a different approach to a campaign. And I was thinking about this too, back when I was young and in college. I always thought too, like the amount of money that gets spent on campaigns, like,
so much.
Can we just put it back towards the community?
Right.
And I thought it would be like a self-perpetuating cycle of like, it would get news coverage because shocker, candidate actually lives out what she wants to do, help the constituents. So tell me how that process has been. Has it been well received? Because it's not commonplace.
It's been very well received. And that's it. Literally the exact same thought process for me. I saw how much money we spent in 2024
it's sickening.
Lose. It made me nauseous. It made me physically nauseous. I was like, think of how many food banks could be stocked or how many clinics could be funded. I grew up Republican, and nothing would have made me a Democrat faster than seeing action like that. And obviously that isn't how our society should just run. We should just have a society that works. But in the meantime, as Trump creates gaps in how our lives can be miserable, function. Like, what if we use these inordinate amounts of resources we spend for campaigns on showing rather than telling?
I thought that too about like Elon Musk, all these billionaires who want to say like, oh, elect me, even just like rich people too, elect me and I'll use all my money. Like, what is stopping you?
What's stopping you from doing it now?
I'm sorry, you have the literal power now, the power of the purse, the money. So no, I mean, honestly, great. I'm glad that it's well received. More people should be like this. Again, you're giving me so much hope for Gen Z.
Thank you.
I just feel like you're doing it right.
It's it's one of these things where I feel like millennials were lied to. Like,
Oh, we can talk all day about that.
You do everything
Mhm.
right. You go to college, you do this, you'll be able to have a family, you'll be able to have a home. And then they like it was a lie.
Mhm.
And Gen Z are like the adults in the room were just like, you're not even gonna have that.
Actually,
Like they
right.
didn't even lie to us. And honestly, I don't know which one's worse.
I feel like I could like to see the moving train coming towards me,
Yeah.
because I feel like whiplash. Like I went through this whole thing too. You asked like, how did I get into like interviewing candidates and doing embroidery like this? But like it was because like I lost my job that I spent my whole entire like 10 years of my career and my entire 20 sacrificing for and all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, none of those places exist anymore. And now we have to like the DIY of media, which is interesting, but I also feel like it's kind of like your candidacy too, and your campaign. It's like the DIY.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I mean, I got laid off because Elon Musk sued my company for accurate reporting,
Mhm.
and the costs mount up when you're up against the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
So I got laid off, and I had to go freelance. And like I am on a payment plan to the IRS for my taxes from 2024 because freelance taxes, as I'm sure you know,
Yeah.
are a
expensive.
fucking nightmare.
Right. And there's also no other option if you want to be in this. Like I went to school for journalism, which is wonderful. But like at the same time, it's like there ain't no jobs.
No.
So I had to create one myself. But okay, let's talk about Media Matters though, because you got paid to watch Fox News all day.
Yes.
Okay, but why would they pay you though? My dad does that for free.
I often say, I'm like, I know as much about Fox News as like a boomer dad that just watches Fox News all day.
All day.
Like we both have the same exact library of Tucker Carlson in our brains, unfortunately.
Yes, but at the same time, you like think about it so differently. If you and my dad had a conversation,
I think it would
two
be
different
very
realities.
entertaining.
I think so too. Maybe we should make that happen.
Hell yeah.
That should be my new series.
Sequel. It was one of these things where we had, and it's part of the reason we're in this mess, and part of the reason I'm running for Congress is the Democratic Party not understanding how right-wing media works.
Yeah.
And the effects of mis and disinformation, and also just like how narratives work. What you would see on Tucker Carlson on Friday night would be on the House floor on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I actually did a training with Chuck Schumer's staff on how to use Fox News as a weapon, and he just ignored everything I had
Chuck
to say.
Schumer's staff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can imagine. That's like the least, I'm like kind of shocked, but like, no, that is the least surprising thing that Chuck Schumer wouldn't take a note.
Yeah, right?
He likes to send
He's
notes.
like, he loves to send notes.
But he doesn't like to take
and
any
who's
notes.
amongst us, you know?
Wait, hold on. How are you tying this? I saw you like, because I'm at the, or should I just like move along to the next?
So you can move along to the next thing.
Okay.
You can also just take the needle off and tie it off and then do that.
Okay, and then start over.
Yeah,
I
and
got
I
a
can
little
show you
left.
some other fun little stitches if you want.
I love this. I love it when bitches stitch.
When bitches stitch.
When bitches stitch. Okay, so back to Chuck Schumer. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, and the media, like the media landscape is completely changed, especially for like candidates. Do you think it's important for candidates to have a social media presence? Is that like maybe the most important thing at this point?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the most important thing. I think the most important thing is like having values and living by them.
Yeah,
But
fair.
It is a new world out there, and you have to understand it to be able to communicate it. And that's the thing, is people feel left behind by their representatives. I do know that there are a lot of people on the Hill who feel frustrated because they're like, I'm doing this work, but no one seems to know about it. And guess what? At that point, it is not your constituents' fault for not knowing about it. It's yours for not communicating it. Of course, there's like no way to reach all 750,000 people at one time, and there will be people that'll just never hear about the good that you do. But people should know what you are trying to say. And if you don't understand the mechanisms to get that message out, then you should employ people who do.
Well, it's so interesting. There was a study that came out earlier, I guess last year in 2025, that basically said that people perceive Trump as doing more for America, which, as we know, is not true. They've passed nothing except the big, beautiful,
big bullshit bill.
The big bullshit bill to hand everybody the wealth. But people perceive Donald Trump as doing more just because he's just on camera every single day. Even
Right.
though Biden, like when you stack up the numbers, Biden accomplished more like legislatively than anybody had in like 50 years, but no one knew about it. So I get their
Right.
frustration.
And then there's also the fact that a lot of those legislative accomplishments were half measures. Like we didn't pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. With the infrastructure bill, there were so many compromises that were made in the name of bipartisanship and of catering to Joe Manchin. But if we had
Who's not even there anymore.
who's not even there anymore,
Drives me crazy.
and it's like, well, what if we instead actually tried to do the things we're saying, because then maybe people will feel the effects of them.
Shocker.
Like if we actually, half measures are what got us here. We need full, bold legislation like the New Deal. And I don't give a damn about bipartisanship if bipartisanship means throwing vulnerable people under the bus and catering to billionaires. That's not bipartisanship to me. That's bullying.
I'm not gonna lie, you're giving me Mom Donnie vibes now. do you think that's a compliment?
Oh, that's the greatest compliment. Fox News keeps referring to me as Chicago's Mom Donnie. And I was like, guys,
and
I didn't know you guys did endorsements like that.
Can you put it on a t-shirt, please?
Yeah, please.
I mean, this is, I mean, obviously there's like the general public and then there's the media, but I also feel like the establishment Democrats, they're not reading the room when it comes to this kind of, would you say that you're liked by the establishment?
No. I was the first, so there are 17 people in my race.
Wait,
now,
I literally poked myself when you said that because I was like,
it's Chuck Schumer's voodoo doll. Yeah.
Right? I was like, he could hear me. He could hear me talking shit. Anyway, go ahead.
When I launched my campaign, I was the first person to do so in this race. And it was when the incumbent, who I respect and has done a lot of great work, this wasn't like anything against her in particular. I just believe in competitive primaries and wanted something in Congress that I didn't see across the board. And so many people acted like it was like a literal crime that I could have the audacity to launch my campaign without asking for permission or without waiting my turn. And there are a bunch of people in my race who I like as individuals, and I might vote for them in a different year. I didn't plan to run for Congress. I ran because I feel this urgency. But they talk about how much they want to make change and all of these things. In that case, why didn't you run earlier? If you really thought that you were the best person for this, why didn't you run earlier? If you really felt that urgency.
Right. I mean, I think there's also too, I mean, here's the thing. I get asked all the time, and it's just, I've never expressed interest in like running for office, but I think people perceive if you want to talk about politics, like then go and be in Congress. I get that question like all the time, but it is honestly like, I have no desire to do it for a lot of reasons, but also it's just like, I wouldn't even know how. Like, how can you run a campaign, a successful campaign with only grassroots donations, nothing from we can name them if you want, the big pocket donors that most of the people in this country that are running for office have to live off of. Like, how?
Well, here's the thing. Like, we have over 56,000 donors as of today, with an average donation under $30, literally $29.99, which is so cool. And I could be like, we got it just through blood, sweat, and tears. And like, that's true, but it wasn't only that. I had an existing platform that I built myself with my reporting, but it's still such a privilege to start with. And we are trying to essentially make this so that way other people can run for office too. But the reality is that it is so hard to run as a working class candidate, even with this platform. Like, I am in debt now.
Dude, I didn't even know about this. I mean, I consider myself a pretty like well-versed person, especially in politics. But when Maxwell Frost of Florida was talking about this a few years ago, when he was like, I'm literally homeless. Like, I'm surfing on people's couches right now because he won, but it was in massive debt. But like for me, and people were a lot at the time, this is a couple of years ago, a lot of people were like, oh, how can he be homeless and all this stuff? I'm like, I think that guy more represents me than anybody who took $1 billion or $1 million from someone. Like, he knows what I'm dealing with. Like, how many times in my life have I almost been homeless or I had to go sleep on someone's couch?
And like, I am so lucky that my partner has picked up a lot of the slack for me, but that's not sustainable. Like, it's not, we're not, rich. And so what do you know about call time, about the practice of call time? So this is how
I know in production, call time is when I'm supposed to show up.
This is the dirty, open secret of American politics. This is how every politician gets a lot of, if not the majority of their money. And that includes the ones you like. That includes me. I tried doing this too, and it didn't work for me. And everyone hates it. The people doing it hate it. The people getting the calls hate it. Literally, you sit in a room for like 4 to 8 hours a day and ask rich people for money. And you might have those contacts yourself. If you want to run for office, the first thing you will be asked when you're setting up campaign infrastructure is how many people can you call on day one to give you a max out donation? So when people brag about like, I made this, I mean, when we raised over 200K in 24 hours, we did it through Grassroots donations.
Yeah.
But usually when they're bragging about that number, it's just because they have a lot of rich
Right.
friends they could call.
Shit,
And
must be nice.
right? It sounds great. And if you don't have that, a lot of people won't even work with you. And so,
these are the same people who will then say, but why didn't you do anything?
right. Exactly.
It is an endless cycle.
It's an endless cycle. And so we tried to do it differently. We called existing donors, and our first priority was updating them on the campaign. The second one being like, hey, if you want to and are able, this amount of money could pay for this expense.
Yeah.
And those conversations were great, but you're still spending so much time leaving voicemails. You know, it's miserable. Everyone hates it. No one's having a good time. And
yet somehow that we've been conditioned that that's the only
way. And when you ask people like, why do I have to do this? The answer is always like, well, it's what you have to do. You can't run a campaign without this. And guess what? We are doing it. We ditched it for live streaming. We live stream, we play video games and talk to guests. Yeah. Like 2-3 times a week, and we have raised so much more doing live streaming than we have with call time. And
did Fox News like run a ridiculous Gen Z Twitches for votes? I saw one yesterday. They're like Gen Z rage quits interview. Like I don't know how you manage that as your job for like however many.
The benefit of covering Nazis for a living means that you have the thickest skin imaginable. Yeah. But like even the best well-meaning members of Congress, you know, they want to, if you like want to make change, you're like, well, I have to get reelected. And if I want to get reelected, I have to do call time. So there are literally,
or you could just, I always say this too. I'm always like, or you could do the job you were elected to do. And then people will be like, oh shit, maybe we should elect them again.
A lot of this campaign is experimental because I have the privilege to experiment.
Yeah.
And so we're going to try that in Congress too, of like, I'm going to try to do my job. And if that gets me reelected, great. If it doesn't, then
the people have spoken. And that's
democracy.
The beautiful thing, right?
Exactly. It's the same thing with competitive primaries. I want someone to, you know, run if they think they can do a better job than me. That's fine. That's what democracy is.
All right, we got to shift gears and talk about something not so exciting. As riveting as campaign financing is, this is even worse. ICE.
Fuck ICE.
Fuck ICE. Should we show them what we're making?
Oh yeah, look, we're making little.
It's cute, right?
Isn't it cute?
You were one of the first videos that I saw of ICE being violent to a person, to a protester. How did you feel when you saw the video of Renee Good?
I cried like 5 times that day. I think, you know, people have been shot and killed by ICE even in Chicago before this. Like this isn't new. Right. I think that part of what resonated with folks is the fact that this was like seeing her bloody airbag next to stuffed animals in the glove box is really devastating. And I think also part of it is part of what resonated with the video, especially the one that went like really viral of ICE throwing me. It was actually the 3rd time they've done that. They love to throw me. They love to make sure they have their hands on my boobs when they do it.
Very fine people.
Very fine people. But they, like, I'm Palestinian, but I mean, look at me. Look at me. And when people see that, they're like, oh, the state isn't supposed to do violence
against the blonde.
Yeah. Like that's not supposed to happen. And so with Renee Good, whether it's conscious or not, a lot of it is like, well, this is a white woman. This is a white mom who,
right.
And additionally, there's also the part of erasing her queerness. Like she is married to a woman. And I feel like so many, especially pundits and representatives just refuse to acknowledge that. And like the misogyny behind it, calling her a fucking bitch after he murders her.
Oh my God, when I saw that, the rage inside of me.
And it's like, it truly just defines the saying of, you know, men's biggest fear is that, or women's biggest fear, or men's biggest fear of women is that they'll laugh at them, and women's biggest fear of men is that they'll kill them. Like, that's really what it is. She laughed at him and he killed her.
Wow. And is going to get away with it probably. I mean, I think about that too, because obviously like we watch the news, we watch all this stuff. You know, the general public, I feel like this was the one thing. I saw a poll that 84% of people that they polled had seen that video, which is an outstanding number.
There
like
are very few news events nowadays where so many people see.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, people are waking up. But like, I did have to stop and think about exactly what you said. Like, people have been suffering at the hands of ICE for, well beyond Trump amplified it, but specifically over the last year in such a huge way. And yet a certain type of suffering is what's breaking through.
Right. And like it is horrifying. And like a lot of people didn't even know Renee Good was white. Like that's not like, I'm not saying that's the only reason this broke through. A lot of people think about taking their kids to school and then thinking about their partner being murdered and then having to pick up your kid from school anyways. But it is a part of it. And I think that one of the things I've seen time and time again in Chicago at these protests is I've really seen, especially like white men who know that Black and brown bodies are going to be hurt or kidnapped or even murdered. Much like the likelihood is so much higher than for themselves, actually putting themselves on the line in terms of standing up for the community and not trying to also be like, see, I am great for this, recognizing that is their responsibility. It's all of our responsibility to use any platform, power, or privilege we have to stand for those who are being abused.
Where do you think this is headed? Because I mean, as far as much protest as there has been in Minneapolis and Chicago, and like, I mean, and I went to the protests early on here in LA too, that it's definitely died down here in LA, although the reports come that he's going to send them back, you know?
Yeah.
Where do you think this is all headed? Because the DOJ is lying about everything that's happening, the total immunity coming straight from the White House and just ramping up this year. Like where do you think it's all headed?
I mean, we're already a part of it. It's concentration camps. Like that's what it is. I think we need to stop mincing words about it. The facility that I have been protesting in Chicago, the Broadview ICE Processing Center. It is a processing center. People aren't supposed to be held for more than 12 hours at a time, but they're held for days or weeks. There are no beds. Grandmothers and pregnant women sleep on concrete. An inordinate number have never even committed any crime. And most of them who do, it's like a traffic violation. You get one meal a day, and it's not even a meal. It's like a snack. You get a bottle of water, and that's it. People are going into cardiac arrest. There's no ventilation. You get one bathroom break. There's one toilet for all these people who have to sleep standing up. And if you soil yourself, you're beaten. If you don't sign your own self-deportation, you're beaten. And that's the stuff we do know. Yeah. There are so many things
they're not transparent.
No idea about.
I
shudder to think about what crimes we will see in the coming years as more and more is literally and figuratively unmasked.
I'm glad that people are starting to wake up. I think it's a horrible situation that it takes this for people to start paying attention, but obviously that's how our social media is designed. It's how the White House wants it. Throw in a war with Greenland to distract from what's happening. You know, it's an active part of their plan. But I mean, how consequential do you think the 2026 midterms are? Because we could gain the House and the Senate back and have some checks and balances. Do you think that is enough?
No, and it's never been enough. Checks and balances are only as strong as as the support that we put into them, and we haven't been putting support into them for a long time. My dad is an immigrant and firmly believes in the strength of American democracy, and I had to just keep stressing to him over the last few years. I'm like, Dad, these are fallible creations made by fallible people. And when someone comes in and just pisses on the social contract, you can't be waving around the contract and be like, see, it still works. We still have to follow it. Right. Then your hand just gets coated in piss. I think that what we need is more creativity. First off, we can't be compromising on anything that jeopardizes basic human rights. Right. My North Star is that everyone deserves to afford housing, groceries, and healthcare with money left over to save and spend, and equal rights. And
what a concept.
And that's the center in most of our peer countries, but for some reason we treat it like a pipe dream here. And so
I don't think it's a dream. It's just that we have decided that rich people are more important than regular people.
Right, exactly. Which they are, as we all know.
Clearly, obviously. I love all those people that haven't moved out of New York yet.
I know, right?
Like, hello, where are you going?
I thought you were leaving.
I thought
Everyone
you were leaving.
Goodbye. We're so excited. And so anything that I do, I want to operate from that perspective of we can argue about how we get there, but that needs to be the North Star. So first off,
I would love to argue about how we get there instead of like whether people deserve human decency or not.
Exactly.
Like how can we make that happen instead of, well, these people, but not these people.
Right.
Get basic human rights.
Exactly. And we also need to be, first off, we need to be playing hardball with our votes. I feel like the Democratic Party has become allergic to the idea of leverage. So actually using that leverage when you can, not just with Republicans, but also with the party. Like, I'm not voting for any House Speaker that doesn't support banning stock trading and forcing members to sell their stocks. I'm not voting for any House Speaker who doesn't support the Block the Bombs Act. I'm not voting for any House Speaker that is going to try to move us to the right for the presidential election. Absolutely fucking not. Play hardball with your vote. You have to earn this, just like you should be earning your constituents' votes.
Right. And I really enjoyed what you said about, you know, how the Democrats are blaming being too woke, throwing trans people under the bus. We lost because we were too woke and we were too far to the center.
I always say that, you know, trans rights are a kitchen table issue. Trans people have kitchen tables too.
Right.
Immigration is a kitchen table issue, not just abusing immigrants, because guess who also has kitchen tables? Immigrants. Like, this is just, it's abhorrent. But we also need representatives who are willing to be creative in how they use that power platform and privilege. Like, I think a lot about Cori Bush sleeping on the steps of the Capitol and ensuring that millions of Americans didn't get evicted. I think about, you know, when the first time I went out to the Broadview ICE facility, there were no elected officials there at all. And the next few times, same. But after I got thrown for the first time, and after seeing a lot more people come out to these protests, we had some folks, including my opponents. And don't get me wrong, this is not even a dig. I am glad that they were there because it makes all of us safer. It makes everyone more supported. It makes the likelihood of something really dire happening lower. But I wanted that to happen from the jump.
Right. Day one.
From day one. When Elon Musk marched his army of, you know, Nazi virgins to the Treasury Department,
Nazi virgins.
every Democrat should have been standing arm in arm in front of every entrance and every exit.
And the fact that we're arguing about that, like, well, who should stand and where, and like sending notes, like, the idea of a palatable politician, I think is dead. I think it's gone.
I don't care about decorum if people are dying. I don't care.
We can talk about that after everyone has a right to live.
Like, one thing we could be doing is we could be breaking quorum. We could be calling a point of order parliamentary procedure measures every few minutes.
Yeah.
And it's rude. It's annoying. Guess what?
It's effective.
It's effective and people are dying. And anytime we are spending not passing dangerous Republican legislation, anytime we are spending stalling this president's agenda, is time well spent.
So you said if you were elected, you would be sworn in on a copy of Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower. I'm not gonna lie, I had to look it up. And that's a depressing book. Like, why that book?
So Parable of the Sower, I know it's a depressing book in the way that it's like when you read the summary.
Yeah, and I did.
And you did.
And I did.
But it's also, so basically it's a story of a young woman who recognizes essentially the whole world is operating as if all of the worst aspects of our world never had anyone to stop them. And it feels like a reality that gets closer and closer. And the protagonist is a young woman who sees that, and she is thinking about how we are destined for the stars and how we need to look at God differently. And every chapter is started by a different verse from this faith that she creates called Earthseed. And the underlying point of it is God is change. We are change and God is change. And if we want to get anywhere, we have to recognize that this change is inherent. It will happen. And it is our responsibility to guide it where we need to go. And there's a lot of hope I think we can find in that idea that God is change. And in this, unfortunately, Octavia Butler never got to finish her series.
Oh, wow.
I would have loved to read the entire series before she passed. But, you know, the hope of Earthseed was humanity is destined for the stars, for an egalitarian society where we look for more rather than fighting right here. And that just, reading it was like a religious experience for me. I actually write Earthseed verses in my planner. Like, it resonated so much with me. And it's one of these things where, especially as, I'm not sure if jaded is the right word, but our creative director and I were talking about this the other day. You know, our campaign's a lot of bright colors and a lot of hope and all these things.
And I love it.
But we also, you know, we've gotten the shit beaten out of us a lot in the last year. There's a part of us that's like, literally, that's a little grittier. That's like a little more pissed off. And I was already pissed off to begin with. And Parable of the Sower really resonates with me in that light of things are bad and we can recognize that they're bad. And guess what? Let's just accept where we are, but not accept that as where we have to be.
Yes, live in the world while we fight for change. What do you think the Fox News headlines will be when you don't do it on a Bible?
They're gonna be like, her last name's scary. She should have done it on the Quran, and then we could have complained more.
Gen Z, you wouldn't be candidate at that point. You would be Gen Z Congresswoman.
Gen Z Congresswoman swears
They'll probably
in.
say Gen Z Congress girl.
Yeah, truly. Gen Z Congress terrorist, because my last name's Abughazaleh.
They would do that.
Right? Swears
Oh my
in
God.
on science fiction book written by a Black woman. How dare she?
How dare she?
And
They
also
would say that you're illegitimate, even though Trump never touched his hand never touched the Bible. Somehow they would throw you out of Congress for that.
And the craziest part is, so I actually went to like religious schools growing up.
I was just going to ask you if you were religious growing up.
Yeah, my parents weren't religious. I was raised in like a very secular household, but I went to, so my dad was raised in a Muslim household. My mom was raised in like a Protestant one. And for some reason I went to Catholic school. And even though we had like a very secular household, I actually found a lot of comfort in like the chapel services we had every day. We had a really awesome priest. I went to Episcopalian, like elementary, middle school, and then a Catholic high school. My priest growing up, Father Hauk, shout out, is just like unbelievably based. He's so cool. It was like a place where genuinely it's everything that that Christians truly believe. And that's why so many religious institutions are corrupt. And so many people have horrible experiences with them. But I always try to stress, for so many people across the world, this is how people find community and comfort and purpose. I don't identify with any specific faith anymore. I identify more with values than a faith.
Agreed.
But I still find comfort in those ideas and those experiences.
I think so too. I mean, I grew up very religious, and I also don't practice religion anymore. But yeah, faith is something that I hold dear, and I think faith can be a beautiful thing. I think it's been weaponized by a lot of not well-meaning people.
Completely agree.
But is that how you ended up being a Reagan Republican? I was super surprised at that. Plus, also, you were 5 when he died. How did he even come on your radar?
Well, that's the thing. So I grew up in a Republican family. So my mom's side, my grandmother, was a GOP operative, straight up a GOP operative.
What does
in
that
Texas.
mean?
She was the head of the Texas Republican Women. When she died, I inherited the fur coat that she wore to Nixon's inauguration, which, I mean, look, it is a banging vintage fur. I do wear it. It's
you just wash away Nixon from it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's definitely rolling in her grave at everything that I stand for and everything that I fought for my career, and that's fine by me. So my family, we were just it was, thank God we weren't Christian nationalists. I think part of it, especially in my immediate family, is I was never raised to think I couldn't do something because I was a girl. A lot of our values that we held as a family didn't actually identify with this party that we were really involved in. We'd travel a lot. My mom made sure that we were exposed to other cultures and really respectful to cultures and recognize my parents had this policy where I could read anything on their bookshelves. So when I was 11 years old, I read Clan of the Cave Bear, which is still one of my favorite books. It's where I learned about the concept of sexual assault for the first time. It helped me learn a lot about the ideas of racism and sexism and a lot of these dynamics. And I sat down with my parents. They treated me like an adult. And I was like, can you explain this? I'm a little confused. And the school literally called my parents and they were like, yeah, she's reading this book. And my mom was like, yeah, I gave it to her.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And so for us, it was this idea of bootstraps, my dad's an immigrant and we're doing well and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't realize that so many of the myths that I believed were actually the causes of so much hardship for others. And so when I was 15, we moved to Tucson, which is much less segregated by income than Dallas. And I had a friend who was much smarter and more talented than me. And she wanted to be a doctor. And she couldn't afford to go to college even with a full ride because she still had to take care of her family. And I was like, but that doesn't make sense because you did all the right things. You did the merit, you did all the stuff. And she was like, I can't. There is no way for me to do this and still have my family be able to survive. And it kind of, everyone needs a puncture to get out of that right wing view.
Bubble. Yes.
And that was mine. And then Trump announced his run for presidency, and we were like, maybe Marco Rubio is the answer. Yeah, it was rough. I wrote a thing in my college paper, or my high school paper. I wasn't a Republican in college, dear God. My high school paper being like, Marco Rubio is my candidate. Oh my God.
I interviewed Marco Rubio back, I mean, at least 15 years ago. And back when I was probably still, I was Republican, but I think I was Republican out of ignorance more than anything else. Because once I learned, I was not Republican anymore. But yeah, I have a photo with Marco Rubio.
That's the thing with ignorance, though. I often say that ignorance, the effects are extremely negative, but it itself is completely value neutral. You don't know what you don't know, and there will always be bigoted, shitty people out there, and you should never have to justify your existence to anyone. Which, frankly, as a Palestinian person, amazing that I didn't realize that earlier. But it's there are all of these. There are so many more people in the world that are just ignorant. Like the best way to fight transphobia is meeting a trans person for the first time.
Yes,
the best
I agree.
way to fight, Islamophobia, anti-Palestinian racism. I've had people tell me like, I didn't know Palestinians could be like you. And it's like, yeah, we can dye our hair blonde. Yeah, we can have blue eyes, but like, we'll come back to that. You're on the right track. And so I always say, like, if someone's willing to engage in good faith, we should let them, because people like Rupert Murdoch spend billions upon billions of dollars to keep Americans ignorant because it makes them more money.
Absolutely. All right. One more question about like the future of the Democratic Party. Honestly,
It's Hakeem Jeffries.
Do what? No, Hakeem Jeffries. I literally had to do a double take. Like, what did she just say? I think he thinks he is. Yeah, all of these. I mean, honestly, it's like most of my issues with the Democrats are just the men who just won't give up their power, won't just like set aside. But if you had a magic wand, and if you could fix the future of the Democratic Party, which honestly, first step would be getting into office. So if you had a magic wand, what would you change?
I want a Marshall Plan for our government. I think we are the richest country in the world. We don't need to have any medical debt. We don't need to have people sleeping on the streets. We are going, like, Trump is destroying a lot of stuff. The forest is on fire, and when the fire goes out, there aren't going to be any trees, but there will also be a lot of fertile soil for us to plant something new.
Yeah, fair.
And the truth is that things weren't working before him either. It's part of the reason that he's here in the first place. And so we need abundance, and not in the Ezra Klein way. I'm not quoting him. I'm saying that we need to be pouring money into what really matters. That means, like, all this stuff is intersectional. Our top two issues are anti-authoritarianism, exactly what it sounds like, and basic existence, the idea that everyone should be able to afford housing, groceries, and healthcare with money left over to save and spend. And that's because I'm tired of these issues being framed as singular, because more half measures will get us in this situation again. A Green New Deal, for instance, isn't just, yay, Green New Deal, and that's all you say. It's building climate infrastructure, because that actually lowers costs for the rest of us. Gives us jobs. It means addressing racial inequity, and especially environmental racism, and ensuring that health outcomes are better for people. It means instituting single-payer healthcare with vision, dental, mental, and hearing coverage. It means reparations to the global South, especially in terms of energy investment, because we can help when the rest of the world is healthier, when the rest of the world is safer, so are we.
Right.
I want to we have spent so much time focusing on austerity measures and catering to donors and saying, well, we can't have good things, and we can have good things. We don't have to settle. I say, let's try something different. Let's do a straight up New Deal.
Honestly, it's not even that different, because like for every Republican who is bitching about, we don't have money to pay for SNAP benefits, and we don't have money to pay for healthcare, we certainly have money to pay ICE.
We certainly have money to pay ICE.
We certainly have money to do that. We certainly have money to take over God knows how many countries. We have money to pay Argentina. We have the money. It's just our priorities are wrong.
Right.
We could have paid teachers the entire time $50,000 bonuses if we had wanted.
We could find trillions in wasteful spending in our military, but no, like so few Congress people want to stand up to military industrial complex. But guess what? I am not in this so I can trade stocks or even be in this seat forever. I promise not to serve more than 5 terms.
Wait, you don't want to make friends? What? You're not going to Capitol Hill to like be part of the game?
To be part of the game?
The Girl Squad? What do they call that? What do they call that back?
What?
Remember when AOC and
the squad.
The squad, yeah. I thought it was the Girl Squad.
I mean, like, look.
You don't want to be a part of the squad?
I mean, like, look. in terms of base Congress members, they're pretty much all in the squad. I will happily be a part of that. I'm not going to be a part of, fucking the APAC trip or any of that shit. I'm tired of pretending like we have to limit ourselves when we don't.
We don't. Well, this was a lovely conversation. Wait, how far did you get on your...
It's so cute. I got this. I got the sign done. I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, I know, me too. You can be part of my squad. And it's appropriate that I have a squad because I'm not an elected official. Okay. These are very rapid fire. We ready?
We're ready. Lock in.
The most prominent Republican that trolled you online.
Department of Homeland Security.
For real?
Yeah.
What'd they say?
You can look it up.
Favorite and least favorite Fox News personality.
Ooh, it depends on how we're saying favorite. I'm like not gonna cop out and say any of the liberal people on there. Would love to go to a happy hour with Janine Pirro. I just think that she's really good at gossip. I don't want to be her friend. I don't if I can opt to hang out with anyone else, yes. But in this question, that least favorite, I'm gonna say just because he's a little bridge troll who's just so insecure. Greg Gutfeld.
Oh yes, I was gonna say Jesse Waters, but Greg you can put in your pocket.
And this isn't hating on our short kings.
No, but he's one I don't mind hating on. Why didn't Gen Z participate in the 2016 trend?
What do you mean the 2016 trend?
Oh no, she doesn't even know what the 2016. So there's a trend online that happened last week where all these millennials posted a ton of photos from 2016, but it was only millennials. Gen Z did not participate.
Can I tell you a secret?
Sure.
I don't use TikTok. I don't use TikTok.
I'm so envious of you.
I made my career making videos about the right and all my journalism and stuff like that. I log on to TikTok and then immediately log off. My friends call it NPC algorithm.
What is NPC?
Like a non-player character in a video game.
Oh yes, you're a stalker.
But I don't even stalk anything. I just post and I'm like, all right, I'm out. So I don't know any trends. My campaign manager can attest. She'll drop a reference to something. I'm like, I'm the most.
Well, now I just feel old bringing it up.
No, look, it's not your fault. I am the most online, offline person you could ever meet.
That's so fair. You're like, I'm an influencer that does not like to be online.
And I'm not an influencer.
I was going to ask you that. Do you consider yourself an influencer?
No, and this is no hate on influencers, but I've worked for reputable media organizations doing original reporting.
Yes.
A lot of it is sexism. It's a woman on camera. Pretty much every industry that women lead is minimized. We saw this with fucking rocket science, computer science, coding, fashion, all these things. Once women get into it, it's denigrated. Or when women start it, it's denigrated. For me, I refer to myself as a journalist or researcher. Yeah. Absolutely no hate on influencers. Yeah. But I think a lot of it's just well, you're a woman and you wear makeup and you have online. A phone. You're online, you have a phone.
Well, the idea of political influencer, I think is so wrong.
Yes, I completely agree.
And I can't deny, I fall into that category and people call me that. And that's even what I say because we don't have other words for it. But I'm just I just don't think it accurately represents the work that we do.
I completely agree.
Because you think people think we're Kardashians caring about money or brand deals or.
I've literally never taken a brand deal in my life. I've never had an ad or anything. Everyone has their own things to do, but I've never used that word. And it's almost always men that use it.
The American city you'd most like to live, if not Chicago.
I mean, I guess New York. Ben and I used to live over there, and there was this yakitori place that I crave all the time. It was our first date, and I miss it. So I'm a city girl, though. I grew up in, Dallas proper. I can't live in the suburbs in terms of especially not just suburbs, I guess, but suburbs in states with zero public transit or social services.
Mm-hmm. It's hard.
Chicago suburbs are so much nicer than I've lived all over the country.
Love Chicago.
Chicago is amazing. I mean, there's a reason my family immigrated here. It is a wonderful place. It is the most anti-fascist place I've ever lived. It is the most community-based place I've ever lived. I love Chicago. So.
That's so you're going to stay in Chicago then?
Yes, I'll stay in Chicago. Okay. I didn't know that was an option because I wasn't given that option.
Well, if you get elected, then you can't move out. So you got to stay, right?
I always tell people, I'm look, if you're worried I won't come back to the district, I'm keeping my cat here.
There,
and I know that sounds silly, but
yes.
I genuinely want to hold myself accountable. And yeah.
Influencers you'd most like to see run for political office?
I don't use TikTok.
But you know political influencers, right? Or influencers.
I'm going to use this time to plug my friend Demi Palachek, who's running for 13th district for their House seat in Illinois. She's awesome. We actually just did an event with a bunch of influencers and content creators that we met at the Remove the Regime rally. And she could make a killing being an online grifter. She chooses not to. She's awesome. So I'll say Demi Palachek.
Best deep dish pizza in Chicago.
Ooh. I can't give an answer because everyone's gonna get mad at me. You can't fucking put this in here because everyone's gonna get mad at me.
Just letting you know, this future politician just not want to answer questions.
Look,
wow,
I am
wow.
begging you because people are gonna be like, she doesn't want to answer because she's a carpetbagger. Please, I'll give you a different juicy question, juicy answer.
What's better than crust or deep dish?
Deep dish is not pizza, and that's not bad. Here's the thing: everyone wants to compare them. It's like when you're like, are you a dog person or a cat person? These are not mutually exclusive. Deep dish is a casserole, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I just think we need to appreciate it for what it is rather than trying to pigeonhole
pick it
it
up. Right. You're making valid points.
Thank
okay?
you. Thank you. I think we just need to reclassify it, and we need to stop pitting these two queens against each other.
I do think that there is like the only way that can unite Chicago, because I asked this question and it was like I forget what they were, Giordano's, which is really popular, and one that starts with a P. And oh my gosh, that was like a live show. People were ready to fight each other in the audience.
It's like asking Chicagoans if they put ketchup on a hot dog.
I love how you're just like, the only question, we talked about federal indictments, we talked about being thrown to the ground, and you're like, I can't piss off my voters when it comes to peace.
I can't do this. Please put the second question in. Can I plug my campaign a little bit?
The one thing that'll turn off voters is peace.
It's a nightmare. Everything's a nightmare. You can't win. If you want to support, can I be like, if you want to support my campaign?
Of course.
Yeah, if anyone wants to support my campaign, the best way is to donate at catforillinois.com. We are a grassroots campaign. APAC is investing like $15 million up to that in my race. So donate at catforillinois.com. We're a grassroots campaign, even if it's like $5. Thank you so much. And you can also volunteer at discord.gg/catforillinois. And if you want cool cat merch and say you're the first one to do it, catforillinois.com/store.
Cheers. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.